Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the Akim that's doing this work in sincerity and truth. And as you can see up on the screen here, um, this was a picture of the Donald Trump inaugural, okay, where he was sworn in, okay, and you know, this is this guy that's gonna bring this calamity to this place, man. They're gonna bring this place down, And you see the pride off this damn devil, man. You know, not only is he being sworn in, though, he has the audacity to bring his own Bible. Okay, so basically they basically doubling down, on their wicked deeds. This is spiritual right here. You know, and the Lord said you're going to receive the double. You know, so this is that's a very spiritual um deed that this devil did right here. Okay, um, I just want to just pull a couple of scriptures concerning this matter. Right, this is um this is Psalms chapter 50, verse 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Because you don't judge according to the laws of the scriptures of the Bible. You judge according to your own laws. Okay? All right? You make your own decrees. All right? You make your own unrighteous decrees. You see? Seeing thou hatest instruction and casteth my words behind thee. Yeah, you cast the words behind you. You hate instruction. Okay? Going back to your forefather. Okay? Right? Your forefather Cain, he hated instruction. Okay? He couldn't even bring the proper sacrifice into to the Lord. Okay? All right? He did his own will. Okay? And that goes on to how it is for you today. You carry that same trait. You hate instruction. You know, you're always trying to cut corners. That's what Edom likes to do. Verse 18. When thou sawest a thief, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and has been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Yeah, you give your mouth to evil, and your tongue frameth deceit, because you have these think tanks. You do extensive research on Jake. You blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. They do extensive research though, and they watch us closely in everything that we do. Okay, everything's documented. Everything is basically for their benefit, as far as keeping us in this depressed state. You frame deceit is because you speak with that forked tongue. And this whole thing with the Democrats and Republicans, it's all a game. Because now that the Republicans are in office, now you have these Democrats, which are liberals. They're playing devil's advocate as being the pressure from beneath. Okay, the pressure from above is coming from the Republicans right now. So now all of this stirring up from the pressure from above, pressure from below, is now these Democrats are causing these organizing these little rallies that are going on around the country right now. When you look into the news that's going on these days, with these little town halls, and they come up against their congressmen. That's the pressure from below. But it's all for one agenda that they have. At the end of the day. Verse 20. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thy own mother's son. And that's the whole thing about Edom. Character assassination. They are the that is their gift. of character assassination through their media. You know, all right. They're always trying to make Jake look in a bad light. You know, but the real iniquity is coming from you damn devils. All right, that's where all the iniquity is coming from, though. You know, you can't compare a Jake. You know, you want to sit here and shed light on Jake robbing the store, okay, just to be able to put food on his table because of oppression. But here it is, you go into another country and take that whole country's resource, okay, and you want to turn every country into a 42nd Street, so to speak, okay. You want to bring in your laws, okay. You want to bring in your lifestyle. You know, you want to push that homosexuality in all these countries that you set foot in. You know, but you slanderous thy own mother's son because you demonize us. You see, all right, and you're gonna continue to try to do that, okay, because that's how you are able to frame us, okay. Meanwhile, all the iniquity, all the real iniquity that's going on in the earth is what you damn devils are doing, okay, right? Verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silent. Thou thoughtest I was altogether as such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thy eyes. Yeah, you really think the Lord is with you. You know, the Lord didn't bless America. You know, this is what you don't understand. You know, and a lot of that stems from your false understanding of the scriptures, because as you can see here, when you're looking at this Bible, he bought his own Bible on top of the Bible that they normally use to inaugurate the president. This is a revised standard version of the scriptures. Now, when you do a word search on this Bible, all right, the word slave is in that book 61 times, compared to it being just one time in the King James version. Okay, all right, and there's a lot of other versions of the Bible where the word slave is in there numerous times. There's certain Bibles that are in there a couple hundred times, but this particular Bible that this devil has here is in there 61 times. Okay, now the one time that the scripture, the word slave, is in the King James version is in the book of Revelations. I believe it's the 18th chapter. You know. And basically 18 and 13 is where that scripture is concerning slaves. And that's your charges being brought up upon you about how you heap iniquity unto yourself. You know, those are your charges being brought up upon you. That's the only time that slave is brought up in the scriptures. Okay, because that was part of your doings. All right, trafficking slaves. You see. Let me get like right now we're in it's a beautiful time right now, you know, and it's just fitting, you know, how, you know, they're trying to cleave onto these scriptures, these scriptures, so to speak. You know, they want to go ahead and read certain scriptures, you know, and don't have no proper understanding of the scriptures, you know, because hey, quiet as kept. Hey, that book that he's holding right there, you could just open up that book and put your hand on it and open it up to the Isaiah the 34th chapter, okay? Because that's what your future is, all right? All right? If you want to read anything, you want to read the Making America Great Again, read Isaiah the 34th chapter. You could have just left it open on that. Open the book up and put your hand on it and then be sworn in on Isaiah the 34th chapter, because that's your future, you know. This is Psalms chapter 10 verse 2. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor, let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Yeah, you've taken the poor, you persecute the poor, you know. You know, the same thing that's going on right now is how you coming down on Jake, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, though. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. You got Issachar, the tribe of Issachar, which is the so-called Mexicans. They're the backbone of this country. You know, but now you want to persecute them and try to do away with them, so to speak. You know, you want to so-called deport them. You know what I'm saying? Which you got to read between the lines, though. They're detaining them. They're detaining them in this country. And more than likely they're gonna be chipped. You know, now you separating them from their families. You know, now it is you made a movie some time back called A Day Without a Mexican. You know, and you really made light of that subject as far as making it like kind of like in a comedy sense though. But if you had the whole tribe of Issachar by itself, if they called out sick for one day, this place would collapse overnight. Okay, all right, and you're stirring up a lot of pride on with you regular devils. You know what I'm saying? So now, this is my question: if if all the Mexicans were taken out of this country, so that means that you devils are going to sit there and take their place and work the same pay that they're going to work. Okay, so that's what the case is. That's what you're telling because you're all for it. You regular Edomites, you're all for it. You know, so that means you're going to take their place and do the work that they do. For their same pay, right? You know, this place doesn't have no intention of even trying to replace those people. Okay, all right. This is a fire sale going on right now in this country, man. You got them iron gates about to come down real hard. So this is the beginning of the end. Jumping back, this is Psalms chapter 10, verse 3. The wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blessed the covetous, whom the Lord abhorreth. The Lord hates people that covet. And that's basically what you do. You speak of your heart's desire. You got these very ambitious plans of what you want to do. Even recently, you discovered these planets out there. That was in the news this past week. But really, at the end of the day, the only thing you can do is window shop. Okay, that's all you can do. You're talking about 40 light years away. Listen, you're not never going to see those planets. You're not never going to even even defile those planets. The only thing you can do is like look at it though, and just window shop. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Reading on. The wicked, through his pride of his countenance, will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all his thoughts. And in his sense, why would he want to think about Yahweh? Okay, he wasn't programmed to think about him. Okay, he's given dominion upon the earth. Okay, all right. Through his father Isaac, gave him dominion of the earth. Okay, which was Yahweh Shai. But he was given dominion upon the earth. Okay, all right. The earth is given into his hands. So why would he look for any higher power when he thinks of him of being that power? Why would he do that? Verse 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. And as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Yeah, and then you always you belittle these other countries. Okay, all right. You thinking as that you're this superpower that these other countries haven't caught up with technology. You got to remember that this place is a so-called melting pot. So you have a lot of people that are doctors and of tech savvy people are from other countries, and a lot of these other countries that they're coming from are countries that you actually have contention with. Okay, all right. You have a lot of these so-called East Indians. Okay, Elam, which is of tech savvy minds. Okay, so you don't think that their technology has caught up to you as far as having nuclear capability? Okay, all right. And the thing is, at the end of the day, you guys were always behind the Russians in technology. Okay, you were always behind the Russians in technology, though. Because the Lord is using that country for his indignation against you guys. You know, so their technology is always going to be far more advanced, and everything that they're gonna always gonna have everything more than what you had as far as having as far as them ICBM missiles. Okay, they're always going to be ahead. Okay, all right. Even when Ronald Reagan had that speech, there was a couple speeches that he did make back when he was in office, and one such speech was him declaring the Bible the law of the land. Okay, back in 1984. Okay, and then at the same time he also want to start up this Star Wars program. Okay, which was supposed to be a missile defense system. Okay, and really at the end of the day he was just informed and being told, what I'm saying, the truth, behind closed doors from the elite that actually run this place, because this guy wasn't nothing but an actor. He was nothing but a Hollywood actor, Hollywood actor turned president. You see, all right, just like Trump. You were just a TV personality turned president. Okay, so he was basically let in on the fact that there is a force that is against this place. Okay, that has come back to destroy this place. Okay, and he was just informed of that. Okay, so that was their reason for starting up the Star Wars program. Okay, which was really just to put weaponry in outer space. You see, and even back then you were behind with the Russians as far as military might. Okay, so what more now? How much more now? Reading on. Verse 6. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And that's the attitude that you take, okay, because you still feel that you're the cream of the crop, what I'm saying, but your pride has deceived you, okay, you feel like you sit as a queen, and you're gonna see that widowhood coming soon, that calamity, which is mentioned in Revelation 18 chapter, all right. What you're gonna understand of that though is that this book that you're trying to hold in some type of regard and wickedness is against you. Okay? Isaiah, the 34th chapter, is against you. Revelation, the 18th chapter, is against you. Okay? Isaiah, the 13th chapter, is against you. Okay? Obadiah, the whole book of Obadiah, okay, is against you. Okay? All right? Hey, your future is also in Isaiah the 13th chapter, But I don't want to just jump off too much off topic though, but okay. He saith in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. Okay? His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Because that's all it is though. Everything that you're planning to do, okay, is mischief and vanity. Okay? All right? The deceit and fraud is coming as upon the people that are not in the know. All right? You still got that covering cast, but the covering cast is about to be cast down. Reading on. It says, he sitteth in lurking places of the villages. In the secret places do he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. Your eyes are always privily set against the poor. All right? You got the lurking places too. Is how you sit in the hood though. Here it is. You distribute guns, okay, into the community, and then you sit back and watch them kill each other, okay, All right. And then basically you you pounce on that though, and you put them through, your jail system, you know. You set up these nets, these snares upon the children of Israel, you know. Another way that you're sitting in lurking places is with that North Dakota pipeline, okay, all right, because you ultimately gave them a deadline this past week to leave the camp, okay, and so you can continue with your enterprise, you know. And you do what you do is that, yeah, hey, you take it and your eyes are simply set against the poor, because here it is, you don't have no regard of any sacred land that you have given them. All right, you have an audacity to take the land from them and then just give them the worst parts of the land. Now you want to use that land for your benefit now, okay, and defile the water, you know. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He do catch the poor when he draweth them in his net. Yeah, and that goes back to how you set up these snares in these Jake neighborhoods, as far as with guns and drugs. Okay, all right, and you watch Jake, okay, get themselves entangled in it. Okay, which is a rebuke from the Lord anyway. But you sit and wait, and you capitalize on that, okay, from your doings. You see, right? He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. You know, and who's those strong ones? Those strong ones is your police. You know, your feds. You know, that come to the neighborhood and come grab Jake up. You know. You wait for them to bring destruction upon themselves. You cash in on that. You see? We get this is Isaiah. Let's see. Isaiah chapter 33, verse 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealeth treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So that time is coming upon Edom, upon Babylon. That's time is coming. Though you're gonna be dealt with very treacherously. Okay. When you thinking that you when you're at the fullness of your sufficiency, okay, as it says in Job, okay, all right, you're going to be thrust through, when you're about to fill that belly. You see, when you're about to fill that belly, that's when that time of your calamity is coming, and it's just fitting, man, that you got two Bibles here, okay, all right, so you basically doubling down on your iniquity. You doubling down on your iniquity. Want to close it out with let's see. This is Revelation. Let's see. Chapter 18, verse 5. Let's start at 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she have rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. Okay, and that's what it is though. Like I said, just like you have these two Bibles stacked up on top of each other. Okay, you're going to get the double of those plagues. All right, and all you got coming here is destruction. Okay. All you got here is coming destruction. And this is that guy that's going to bring it in. Okay? This is that guy that's going to bring it in. This is the guy right here. Okay? And he's going to be the driving force on bringing these calamities. Okay? He's going to unsoul this place, man. You know, and the fabric of this place is about to be torn. You know. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. Shalom.